What's up, everybody? It's the Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast, back with another episode. We're previewing the NFC South for the 2019 season, and we're getting to the Tampa Bay Bucs 2019 season preview. Now, let's start in the draft here. Well, first we got to start with the coaching staff. Brand new coaching staff here in Tampa Bay. They bring in head coach Bruce Arians, which is a great get. Huge upgrade over Dirk Cutter, in my opinion. Bruce Arians is a guy that, you got to trust. He's a great football mind, and he's going to put your team in the best position to win. Now with a guy like Jameis Winston, who hasn't lived up to the hype, had his own off-the-field issues, Bruce Arians may be his last shot at reviving his career. It's been out to a rough start so far, so he needs to turn it around, get back to winning football, make a Pro Bowl, and get Tampa Bay into the playoffs. It's been a while. Jameis is a good enough quarterback. He's got the arm talent. In my opinion, it's all between the ears for Jameis Winston. Stay out of trouble off the field and get back to basics. Protect the ball. I think he's forcing it too much. He's trying to do too much, and he's got to realize that if you force it in the NFL, you're gonna get beat. You're gonna throw picks. You're gonna turn the ball over. You gotta take what the defense gives you and protect the ball. And so we'll see if Bruce Arians can get that out of Jameis Winston. Now, Bruce Arians hires offensive coordinator Bryon Leftwich is his OC, and he's got high praise for Bryon Leftwich. Bruce Arians says on Bryon Leftwich, quote, "I always said I would never give up play calling and look over anybody's shoulder until I found one I knew could do it. I think he's a rising star in this business," end quote. So talking about Bryon Leftwich, it sounds like Bruce Arians is going to give up play calling to Bryon Leftwich, who's in many circles are calling him a future NFL head coach. So good to see out of Bryon Leftwich. I always liked him as a quarterback, and so it's nice to see him doing well. I'm going to be a Leftwich fan if he ends up a head coach. So hopefully Leftwich and Bruce Arians can fix whatever's going on with Jameis Winston and the Tampa Bay Bucs. There's plenty of weapons around Jameis Winston. Plenty of weapons on this offense. You're talking about Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. They bring in Brashad Perriman, O.J. Howard at tight end. I mean, when he was coming out of the draft, some people were saying he could be the best tight end ever. So, looking at the draft picks for the Bucs, they lost Quan Alexander this offseason. He tore his ACL last year, but they replaced him with Devin White out of LSU. Devin White is one of the best picks available in this year's draft. Devin White is a great linebacker. He's a ball hawk. He's a playmaker. Not only is he a sure tackler, but oftentimes on the tackle he forces a fumble as well. Great instincts for a linebacker. Great quick twitch movement, being able to break on balls, break to where the run's going. Devin White is a sure thing, I think. I think he's a home run hit at the linebacker position. I think, and it's crazy to say, I think Devin White is going to be a better linebacker than Quan Alexander was. When we look at his whole career at the end of it. So hopefully that happens. Hopefully he stays healthy, gets it done. Now, after Devin White, in the second and third round, the Bucs had 3 picks, and they took 3 corners, trying to shore up the secondary. They brought in new defensive coordinator Todd Bowles, who was the head coach of the Jets. He's a hell of a defensive coordinator. I expect the Bucs defense to take big strides in 2019. Todd Bowles is a hell of a coach. He's best fit as a coordinator. I don't know if he's quite the head coach type, but he's a great defensive coordinator. So he's going to be in charge of the Bucs defense, and they bring in 3 corners trying to fix the defense. Tampa Bay last year, the defense gave up an NFL worst 110.9 passer rating to their opponents. So bringing in 3 corners obviously shows that they don't trust their secondary. Now, looking at the Bucs secondary right now, I mean, yeah, they draft Jamal Dean. Yeah, they draft Sean Bunting. Um, who else did they draft here? Yeah, they draft Mike Edwards. Sean Bunting out of Central Michigan, Jamel Dean out of Auburn, who I like, Bunting as well, and Mike Edwards out of Hawaii, who I don't know a lot about. So they're getting some youth in there at the secondary spot, and they're going to compete with Vernon Hargraves, Carlton Davis, MJ Stewart, and Ryan Smith for those spots. So a lot of competition going on in Tampa Bay, but it's good to see them getting younger on the defensive side of the ball. Another pick I like in the 5th round, they draft a kicker, Matt Gay out of Utah. So they obviously liked what they saw out of him. They also have Cairo Santos, so they'll be competing there, which I saw Cairo Santos in Chicago. I'm not sold. I'm not a fan of Cairo Santos. He didn't work out for the Bears. No kickers worked out for my Bears last year. So I think Matt Gay will end up being the starting kicker there sooner than later. They lost Gerald McCoy, who they released. We'll have more on him in a little bit here. I got some stuff to say on the Gerald McCoy situation. They traded veteran wide receiver Deshaun Jackson back to the Eagles. Lost punter Brian Anger and veteran quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick. Then they bring in Blaine Gabbert, will be now the new backup quarterback to Jameis Winston, which good luck with that. Hopefully he doesn't have to play too much. They added Ndamukong Suh on a 1-year deal, which they give Gerald McCoy's number to. Again, I'll get to that. Can't believe they did that. They bring in wide receiver Brashad Perriman, who I've mentioned, safety Deion Buchanan, safety/linebacker. I'm a big fan of his. I think he's a good fit with the defensive scheme Tampa Bay is going to run. He's a very versatile defender. They bring in guard Earl Watford, linebacker Shaquille Barrett, and punter Bradley Pinion to replace Brian Anger. So, Bucs making some moves. They're believing in competition. They're going to bring in a lot of bodies and say, hey, best performer wins the job. So I like it. Now, some bad news is that veteran defensive end Jason Pierre-Paul will be out a minimum of 5 to 6 months due to a fractured vertebrae in his neck from a car accident. Now, he is expected to return, so that's the good news, but a bad off-season injury for the Bucs to deal with. Again, Bruce Arians handing over the play-calling reins to Bryon Leftwich, so we'll see how he does at that. Now, unfortunately for quarterback Jameis Winston, I fear that the Tampa Bay tradition of never signing their drafted quarterbacks to a second contract may continue. I had very high hopes for Jameis coming out of college, out of Florida State. Again, it took him almost 2 full seasons to lose a game at the college football level as a freshman and sophomore, but so I had very high hopes on his arm talent and all that coming into the NFL. I thought that he could be one day a Super Bowl MVP quarterback. But, he needs to show major improvement in 2019. He needs to not only take care of the ball and play better on the field and stay healthy and be available to his franchise, but most importantly, he needs to stay out of trouble off the field. Too many incidents. Going back to Florida State, his entire time at Florida State was riddled with off-the-field incidents. Then he gets into the NFL, and it did not stop. It got even worse, to be honest. And we can't have this. You can't have your franchise quarterback. Last year, he was suspended for the first 4 games of the year. You have to be reliable. That's the number one name of the game in the NFL. Reliability is your best, availability is your best asset. And Jameis Winston has to figure that out, as well as the on-the-field stuff. I mean, for the actual stat, Tampa Bay has drafted, this is incredible, Tampa Bay has drafted 25 quarterbacks and never signed a single one to a second contract. Eventually, they desperately need to find that franchise quarterback if the Bucs are going to turn it around and get another Super Bowl. It's been a while since the one in 2003. let alone just be competitive in the division. I think they're in a tough division coming into 2019, and I think they're going to struggle again. I really do. I think they'll be better than last year, but you're talking Saints, Falcons, Panthers. There's not a lot of weaknesses on those teams. Now, getting to the Gerald McCoy issue, they released him after I believe 9 seasons with the team, 6-time Pro Bowler, 4-time All-Pro. They drafted him early in the first round, and Gerald McCoy was nothing but a professional on the Bucs. He was the best player on defense for many of those years. Well, they move on from him this offseason, which I have no problem with it. He's getting older, you got to go in a new direction, and they bring in Ndamukong Suh to replace him. I understand. Now, the thing that got me here, I have no problem with them moving on from McCoy, but it's the way they went about it. Gerald McCoy said he had no contact with any Tampa Bay front office during this whole process. I don't understand. Now it's the Bucs to go with the Cardinals, not having any contact with these players. Josh Rosen's one thing because he's a rookie and he's new and whatever. But Gerald McCoy, this is a veteran. This is a guy who gave the Bucs a lot. He's been a workhorse, 123 starts. He didn't miss a lot of games. He had in 9 seasons 54.5 sacks, almost 300 tackles. And so they treat him badly on the way out. And not only that, then they give away his number to Ndamukong Suh. They give away his 93 to Suh right off the bat. What has Ndamukong Suh done for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers franchise, for the organization? Nothing. He just came in. Giving him Gerald McCoy's 93 is unreal. It's showing no loyalty to a player that's given you 9 seasons, 50-plus sacks, almost 300 tackles, 120-plus starts. It's dirty. It's dirty work. I don't like it. Have your guys back. Have Gerald McCoy's back. Yeah, you don't want him anymore? Sure. That's fine. It's business. You're trying to win football games. But treat him with respect on the way out. I just expected more out of the Bucs organization. Gerald McCoy is one of their best players in franchise history. And it's disrespectful, and it shines a light on how they treat even their best players when they have a down year or so, when they feel like, hey, we've gotten the best out of you. Now get out the door, and we're going to take your number and give it to somebody else. In my opinion, don't you feel like other free agents, the NFL, players all notice everything. Nothing goes without being noticed. So don't you think that other free agents, maybe not this year, but going forward in 2020 and shit like that, don't you think that other free agents are going to see this and say, hey, if they're not going to treat Gerald McCoy with respect, how are they going to treat me? If they don't treat a guy that's given them 9 years and all these stats and accolades, 6-time Pro Bowler, 4-time All-Pro, 4-time All-Pro, if they don't treat him with respect, how are they going to treat the new guys that come in? And it's a valid point, and Tampa Bay needs to think about that when doing this stuff, and I think it's dirty. They shouldn't give away his number. I have no problem bringing in Suh. I have no problem getting rid of McCoy, but don't be disrespectful in the process. And it's going to come back to hurt them. Maybe there's a reason the Bucs haven't won a Super Bowl since 2003, if this is the way they treat their players. Same goes to the quarterback situation. They've been unwilling to give a second contract to all the 25-plus quarterbacks they've drafted. Let's not forget, not all of those quarterbacks have been busts. Steve Young was drafted by the Bucs. They believed him to be a bust. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. Vinny Testaverde, they drafted him. Never gave him a second deal either. So it's not all on just not having enough talent, not having enough around them. I think that ownership has got to do better in Tampa Bay. I really do. Whether it's ownership or management or whatever it is, it's got to be better run. There's got to be more communication. There's got to be respect for these players. If you treat your players like this, it's going to get around, and the other players are going to know about it. And you don't want to be labeled the franchise that doesn't take care of their own. So that's my rant on Tampa Bay. I think I mean, I like some of the moves they've done. I just don't like the way they're handling that. I like the Bruce Arians hire. I like the entire coaching staff. You know, when Bruce Arians, Bryon Leftwich, and what's his name? The new DC. Why am I drawing a blank here? Todd Bowles, right? Yeah. So I like all of that. I think Tampa Bay is gonna be better. I just have issues with the Gerald McCoy situation. I think Sue. It's hard to say on Ndamukong Suh because he didn't really do a lot for the Rams last year. He did a little bit, but he's not the Detroit Lions Ndamukong Suh. He's much more the Miami Dolphins, the LA Rams Suh, which is a big body, a run stopper, but he's not gonna dominate the way he used to in Detroit. So overall, I like what Tampa Bay is doing as far as Ross, bringing in young guys. They need to be more professional and take care of their own. And it's up to Jameis Winston to prove himself this year, earn that second contract, get paid, and hey, let's get the Bucs into the playoffs. It starts with the franchise quarterback. Everyone knows that. So if Winston can't get it done and they miss the playoffs again, hey, Tampa Bay might be either signing a veteran quarterback in the offseason or drafting a new one, depending on how bad they do. So it's a big year in Tampa Bay, big year for Jameis Winston, and I think I got the Bucs going I don't have them doing great this year. I got them going 6-10, 5-11 around there, maybe 7-9 at best, but I don't have them making the playoffs. Mostly because it's a very tough division, and I don't think they're quite there yet. And so we'll see. I think that if I'm making a prediction, I think that Winston doesn't get that second contract, and it's hard for me to say because I was very high on Jameis Winston coming out of college, but it hasn't worked out, and so we'll see. Big year for Winston. He's got to prove me and a lot of doubters wrong. And so we'll see what the Bucs do in 2019. It's going to be a big year. I can't wait to get to week 1 and see what all happens this year. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope you liked it. If you disagree with me, I mean, that's a hot take on Tampa Bay. If you disagree with me, fire back. Tell me how you feel. We can debate it. I embrace debate. Alex Leak and Friends podcast embraces debate. So if you got shit to say, tell me. We'll hash it out. We'll talk about it. I'll give you my reasons for my thinking. You can give me yours. And we can talk it out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. I'll keep putting these videos out. Hope you guys like them. And stay tuned for more. Thanks, guys. And hope you're having a good week. Peace out.